Hey guys, this is Evan Dukas. I'm over here by my greenhouse. And come on in, I want to be able to show you something. It's my first pomegranate harvest in Colorado successfully. Now, of course, it is in a greenhouse, but I want to be able to harvest it, show you what we have going on over here, and give you a couple of tips for what I believe will give you a pretty successful way to grow pomegranates, at least quite possibly, and figs and some other things in cold areas and difficult to grow areas like the Mountain West, like Colorado. So back over here, if you look in the back corner, we have a pomegranate tree that has really done really well. It's growing in the ground in the greenhouse, and that's really an amazing way to do it, guys. I feel like this is really possible to be able to grow really, any kind of Mediterranean plants. In these cold areas, especially by putting them in the ground. It's just a great way to do it. So if you build a greenhouse, even if it's not as nice as this, which by the way, this is just a recycled window greenhouse, so it's really not that nice, but it is solid. But even if you have a cheaper greenhouse, like one of those Harbor Freight ones, I really believe that you can do it, especially if you plant right in the ground. Don't make yourself a greenhouse floor. Floors are a waste. Like potted plants, they don't do as good as plants that grow directly in the ground. So as you can see, this is a really, really happy pomegranate tree that is hidden behind this huge fig tree that's taking up like half the greenhouse. But it is putting on its yellow leaves for the fall. It's finally cooling off even in here. And it's putting on its first fruit, like singular, literally the first fruit, one pomegranate. But I am excited because it's its first fruiting year, and I know that next year there will be many more. So let's take a look. Okay, so here it is. Beautiful little pomegranate. This variety is called Desertni. It's I believe it's from like Iran or one of those Middle Eastern countries, and it's supposed to be delicious. Can't wait to eat it. I'm actually going to cut it right now. And here we are, first pomegranate. So I want to break down a few things about pomegranates. Number one is they are a Mediterranean plant. They're not tropical. That really helps a lot. These guys, depending on the variety, but they are hardy typically to zone 8, but sometimes they can go quite below that. A lot of varieties are hardy to zone 7, like 7A and 7B. I believe there's a new Russian variety. I forget what it's called, but if you Google it, you'll see it. A Russian variety that's actually hardy to zone 6. So you might want to check that out. Either way, you might not even need a full-fledged greenhouse to successfully grow a pomegranate, I believe. I think that if you can cover it really well with something that's quite insulating, that would work. See, pomegranates, kind of like figs, which we'll do another video on, are deciduous. So that means that they lose their leaves in the winter, which means that they don't need sun in the middle of the winter. So once your pomegranate loses its leaves, and if it's in a good spot, especially a protected spot, you can go ahead and cover it. Cover it with layers. Some people use carpeting. Some people use just lots of plastic or tarp. You can probably search and find a lot of great ways to cover these types of plants, especially figs. People have thought of everything. And I really believe that, even if you're in zone 5, maybe even 4B, you should be able to pull it off by covering them and insulating them. This greenhouse has helped a lot, and if you've seen past videos, I do have a cooling and heating system that just runs off of the energy in the soil here that helps to regulate the temperatures. However, I 100% believe that even if I didn't have it, plants like these, pomegranates and figs, would do absolutely fine here. In the West, especially the Mountain West, you have a very volatile climate where it just goes up and down so much, and it's actually not that cold here in the Denver area usually, but when it wants to be cold, it'll like dip 15 below once in a while. So as long as you can curve those dips and those extreme fluctuations by protection, these should be able to handle it just fine. So give it a shot. Try protecting your pomegranates. Put them in a good, well protected area, like a little microclimate, especially against a south wall, or even in like a corner, where a wall of your house meets another wall or a fence. And if you can have it next to a structure, that'll make it even easier to cover it in the fall and winter months. So give it a shot. I hope I can hear some stories of how people are successfully growing pomegranates and other such plants in places like Colorado. I'm going to do more experiments with doing it outdoors. I have a fig experiment outdoors going right now this winter. I can't wait to report on it in the spring to let you know how I did it, how I covered it. I hope it's successful. I hope I get figs next year outside. I'll probably eventually do the same with pomegranates. But for now, from this greenhouse, I have successfully grown a fruiting pomegranate in Colorado. Yes, I'm very happy with this because if you live in these parts, you know that this is really rare. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to subscribe. Really appreciate you guys. Until next time.